Hi, welcome to my third video. This is the build guide for my version of the Deflect Crusader. I've had quite a few questions about the build that I used for my Unholy Cathedral run, but really this can be used for every content in the game so far. First off, the build does require a few affixes to be rolled on your gear, so let's take this step by step. The main stat of this build is based on our deflect value. As you can see, I hit the soft cap for deflect, which is 70%. The perks I'm using are Feint Mastery, Crisis Management and Burnished Weaponry. I've put one attribute point into Virtue to get the first milestone unlocked, and all the other points have gone into Warfare for more melee damage output. So let's talk about skill points. Starting with the hit points tree, I've taken the minimal approach just to regenerate 5 suppression for every deflect and healing for every 10 suppression gained. Under defense, there are a few key points to take, especially early on if you're still leveling: Shield Mastery, Defensive Stance and Runic Wards. This brings us to the Close Combat tree. A big damage increase in this tree is the Riposte ability, providing a stacking damage bonus after a successful deflect, and Righteous Fury grants another damage bonus when your health drops below 50%. This will be up almost 100% of the time because we took the perk Crisis Management. Also, with the top roll we get a nice increase in damage to all slowed, shocked, stunned or frozen enemies. There is also a movement speed bonus in here, but this will only trigger from melee kills, while quickening from the movement tree will proc on any sort of kill. This is why we don't take this point. Next to the attacks with our power sword, which is classified as physical damage, I also have a relic affix on my armor that deals an AoE physical attack. Impact Necrosis gives yet another vulnerability on the target, and Concussive Trauma grants another stacking damage bonus. Incense Weapons is an easy 5% damage increase for our sword. And the last points go towards the movement tree. This is taken last while leveling, as the first points in this tree do not affect us too much until we get to the 7th point for Overreaction. Alright, perks and skill points are done. Let's talk about the gear affixes that really kick this build into overdrive. Starting with the main affix to look out for, which is successfully deflecting an enemy attack recharges 5 suppression resistance. Yes, that's right. With the skills and perks added, this means that if you deflect enough, your suppression bar will not drop, and for every regained suppression, you will also heal yourself. This gear affix can roll on 3 pieces of gear, as I've seen so far, so there's a good chance for your level 10 Crusader to make this build work. The second important affix for this build is on the armor. Deflected attacks have a 10% chance to create a shockwave dealing physical damage and slowing or stunning enemies. This is an instant, massive AoE, and we can use the skill points from the close combat top row for extra damage to slow the stunned enemies. The shockwave basically clears out any non-boss mob in the blink of an eye. On my main implant I've been lucky enough to roll an extra 5.6% damage against slowed, shocked, stunned or frozen enemies, and on my eye implant I have another successful deflected melee attack to have a 5% chance to stun the attacker. On the shield I rolled for 10% chance to evade attack and reflect damage back to the attacker. It really speaks for itself in this big tanky deflect build. On towards the main hand weapon for each set. This is really up to personal preference when to use them, as they both work amazingly well. The first sword I have equipped has a chance to gain armor piercing equal to deflect value, aka 70% armor piercing to melt those Terror mission tanks, and on my second sword I have to ensure deflect value into an equal percent damage bonus. So now we've gotten to the last 2 pieces of gear that kinda need each other to work. On my Inoculator I have the medium and elite kills have a 15% chance to drop a supply pack, and perhaps the most overlooked item for the Crusader is the Deflector Field. If you look at the shield, this grants an energy shield. This reflects damage back to the attacker and stuns or slows them. It also restores 50 suppression per second. The only bad thing is that this has a 94-second cooldown. So this is where the 7 points in the movement skill tree kicks in, which reduce the cooldown by 5% per deflect. To add to this, the extra supply packs from your Inoculator, this means that you can stack these shields. The highest I've been able to reach so far has been a 45k shield bar. I hope you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.